Hello, welcome back to another edition of our Wrestling Weekly Podcast. If you haven't seen any of our other videos, please go and check them out. Now, the first show we're going to be talking about is AEW Dynamite on the 23rd of October, where you see the first semi-final match for the Tag Team Title Tournament, Private Party versus the Lucha Bros. Before we go on to say who won the match, let's talk about how these teams actually got there. Private Party got to the semi-finals by pulling off a huge victory against the Young Bucks, and the Lucha Bros defeated Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt of the Jurassic Express. Winners of the match, Lucha Bros, so they booked their place for in the final of the tournament on the 31st of October edition of Dynamite. Then the second semi-final match, SCU versus the Dark Order. Winners of the match is SCU, and they will face the Lucha Bros in next week's edition of Dynamite for the tag team titles, which should be a good match since the Lucha Bros are the ones who took Christopher Daniels out of action, so they'll want retribution for that.
And it's always good to see titles actually, when it comes to new titles or vacant titles, actually being decided through.
I like it when the tournament. I like it. That's what it should be.
It's
tournament. It shouldn't be one-off matches or battle world tournaments. Are the best way to go.
Or just like, here you go, have the title.
What? Yeah, true. Yeah. Brock Lesnar. I think that happened to him, didn't it?
I don't think so, but he always seemed to fucking get. With Lesnar, he just gets title matches without having to do. Lesnar falls into category like, you've not had a match to set yourself up for a title, but here, have a title shot.
Next match, Joey Janela versus Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega won the match, and then it cuts off with a segment with Cody Rhodes in the ring with Tony Schiavone, talking about his match at Full Gear against Chris Jericho for the world title. He kept on getting interrupted by Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Santana and Ortiz, who are in the VIP box watching from above. Cody did actually eventually say, it's not like the other company we used to work for. I can climb over railings and attack you, but obviously Jericho says you can't because it's about 4-on-1. He shouldn't be that stupid. Which eventually brings out MJF, Dustin Rhodes, and a surprise entrant DDP. I didn't think he was going to make an appearance for Dynamite since he did do a bit of work for WWE.
I think at the moment there is a lot of
there's tension
loose
now.
Ones because there was a point a couple of months back you had Bret Hart. Was he presenting the world title at one of the AEW shows?
He did, yeah. He did, yeah.
But then shortly after, or around
Double or Nothing it was.
Yeah, and then I think it was a week or two afterwards, he was shown backstage, I think at one of WWE's pay-per-views, talking to Seth Rollins.
But DDP isn't welcome with WWE either. He's not under contract with AEW, but he was helping Cody out because he's known his family. Well, he's known Cody since he was 12 years old. He's known his family for a lot of years. And he has respect for Dusty.
I think it's just that there's a few legends at the moment that have sort of seem to have a loose affinity to show up on.
But Vince doesn't like it now. Well, he didn't like DDP going on AEW. That's why he said you're not welcome in WWE, basically.
Yeah, well, that's just Vince being Vince. You can't show up on the other show, sort of thing. Even if it's
a bit petty, but.
Well, Vince McMahon being petty, yeah, that's never happened in the past, has it?
Next match on the card was Best Friends versus the Young Bucks. Young Bucks win this match, which redeemed themselves after being eliminated in a tag team tournament. Will they eventually get another title match or will they get a title match down the line? They haven't got the best record in AEW at the minute since it started, but...
Yeah, but talking of that one, don't forget, we're only a couple of weeks removed from Jericho's title defence and the one contendership match for that. From what I saw, the two contenders for that didn't exactly have decent win-loss. So I think they're probably setting up the fact to win, even though people hark on about win-losses being important. I'm not saying that AEW will turn around and saying we don't consider win-losses, but they seem to be like, no, okay, we'll give some people that aren't on the best runs an opportunity.
Yeah.
But you'd imagine that the Young Bucks would get title shot somewhere down the line. I mean, it's Young Bucks.
Well, yeah, Derby Allen got a title shot,
Not just because the sort of the backroom staff as well, but at the same point, the Young Bucks are the Young Bucks. If you don't get a title shot somewhere down the line.
But I don't think that fussed with gaining titles straight away. I think that you want to help.
I'm not saying gaining the titles.
You want to help the other wrestlers out. I think I saw that you want to help other wrestlers out in the company.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying win the tag titles, but at the same point, like say the whole fact of Jericho being the champion at the moment to give that a bit of prestige.
He needed to be the champion though.
On the other hand, with the tag titles, because they're a new thing as well, even with the Young Bucks competing for it, not necessarily winning.
They could have easily won the semi-final match and go to the final.
So I think sometimes even people with that, well, wrestlers with that sort of pedigree, just competing in a title match, it still gives the titles a bit of prestige, as long as you don't have a silly, screwy finish that makes the title just look stupid, like all the times it's happened. I'm sure it's happened in other promotions, but we all know the amount of times that it's happened under Vince's watch, where you just like, that makes, well, like we said, the Hell in the Cell finish. So even when your got the top title, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's whatchamacallit. So yeah, as I say, as long as it's not...
Bulldog winning the Intercontinental title in Wembley, then losing it like a week later.
Well, yeah, but Michaels again, political stroke.
Exactly. But we'll talk about all wrestling after we've done what we're doing. Next match, Dr. Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter. Winner of the match was Britt Baker. Still needs a bit of work. Still a bit ring rusty. Not bad, but still needs a bit more training. You need a few more additions, I think, to the women's division. It's not awful, but it's not great. Hopefully in the coming months we'll see some more additions.
But with that, have they been focusing more on the main event, men's scene sort of thing?
What they focus more on is tag teams. In my opinion, they focus more on the tag team division, which you can see if you watch Dynamite or AEW Dark, some matches, you'll see that the tag team division is the best in the business. You know, so yeah, they're focused more on the tag team division. Yeah, they have focused on the men's main event as well, but
well, to be fair,
the women's have got a bit.
Get their events with the men's one, because it's like, obviously, if you're going to crown any champion first, it's got to be your world champion to set the
champion.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, maybe a nice little twist. Tag all the women's, and then obviously we've got the new mid-card title coming into it as well shortly, have we?
Hopefully. It's not been officially announced, but it's been rumoured by Cody. Television title will be returning. So, yeah. Whether or not, it won't be this year, I should imagine. Hopefully it'll be sometime next year, towards the end probably, I'm not too sure, but...
Well, yeah, to be fair, you don't want to put too many titles in. I mean, yeah...
They're doing it the right way.
Your main one, your tag, and your women.
I think they will eventually, if they have enough women on the roster, they may eventually have a women's tag titles, but that's way distant.
Again, sometimes you can go wrong with the women's tag titles. Even though WWE have incorporated it, it just seems to be one of those, because we're doing so many big things for the women. But yeah, that's...
I don't know if they'll have a cruiserweight division, but... cruiserweight title division, I'm not really too sure. They haven't mentioned it.
As long as you treat it... The only point of having the cruiserweight division is if you're going to treat it properly, because you look at over the years, WCW, it was an afterthought after NWO. Vince only brought a light heavyweight division in because WC had a cruiserweight division. He's brought the cruiserweight division back at the moment, and that just seems to be relegated to a 1 hour show on the network every Friday. And half that talent just gets signed to the main roster anyway. So I think if they're going to do a cruiserweight or light heavyweight or whatever it's going to be, it's got to have proper focus on it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like we're just having them for the sake of having them.
Yeah, true. The main event of the match of the show, you have John Moxley makes his entrance but stands on the stage. But no behold, behind him, Pac, attacks him from behind. Then they have the match, but ends up in a draw. Is it good to have an actual draw? Well, it does help both wrestlers out. None of them lose, basically. They don't lose.
Yeah, it's good. It's good as long as it's done properly. Because you can if you're gonna go for the draws, you got to make the matches entertaining enough anyway. But the whole thing with that is if you're gonna have time limit draw, was it?
Time limit draw, yeah.
You've got to stop the trope of trying to do time limit draws all the time, because then it's just like, oh, time limit draws, yeah, we're just doing time limit draws time after time. If it's once every couple of months sort of thing, yeah, it's fine. But if you're gonna just go and continue that trend, it just sets too much of a precedent.
Well, Moxley weren't happy because he did the paradigm shift to the referee. Obviously, AEW officials weren't happy with that. Gave him a warning, I think. But I think Kenny Omega was meant to come down, but he missed his time to come to the ring. So they actually did an extended version, whether a day or 2 days later, which on that extended version he announced the match Pac versus Hangman Page at Full Gear. He reiterated the feud between Moxley and Kenny Omega with that match. Yes, that's that AEW Dynamite.
Yep, we'll move on now to NXT, same night. Match to open the show, Rhea Ripley, still competing on NXT, even though she's an NXT UK superstar. She gets the victory, defeating Bianca Belair. Towards the end of the match, Io Shirai and then Candice LeRae interfered. Well, Io Shirai interfered, but then Candice LeRae came out to stop her. That turns into a mini brawl between those two. This week's show would have a bigger development in the women's scene, but we'll get to that later on. The next match was Matt Riddle defeating Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes has come up through the breakout tournament. He wasn't the winner of that tournament, but he seems to be the one that's getting more of the spotlight. I believe this was his first loss on NXT since the breakout tournament. After the match, Tyler Bate, who was in the audience, basically they have a little interaction, Bate and Grimes. Grimes goes to attack him, but Tyler Bate blocks and hits him with the bop and bang. This will lead to a match on this week's show between the two. Next match up was the team of Breezango and Isaiah Swerve Scott. They will defeat the Forgotten Sons. Isaiah Swerve getting the victory. Swerve is another new face on the scene. Obviously now with NXT going 2 hours, they've got more time to show more superstars, so Swerve's one of these that gets a bit more time. Next matchup was Angel Garza defeating Jack Gallagher. Garza, you can see him being one for the future. Another Mexican star. Vince is still trying to find that next Rey Mysterio. He just seems to have this infatuation with trying to find the next Mexican star. Obviously been trying to do it for years, so Garza maybe eventually. Next matchup was a number one contender match for the women's tag team titles. Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox defeated Marina Shafira and Jessamine Duke to earn a number one contendership match. This is yet another match which is going to be on this week's show. And then the night closeout main event match, Roderick Strong defending his North American title against Lee and Dijakovic. Strong retains, your typical heel sneaky victory. Lee and Dijakovic take each other out and Strong just slinks in and gets the pinfall. After the match, the rest of the Undisputed Era will come out. They will beat down Lee and Dijakovic. This would then in turn lead to Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano coming out. After this, Balor comes out, and it looks like we'd be getting the three of them basically having a brawl with Undisputed Era, but this would lead to Finn Balor hitting the Palais kick on Johnny Gargano, and then basically just attacking him outside the ring, putting him through the barricade, taking him out on the steel ramp, and basically, Balor's now gone back to his heel persona that he had when he was in New Japan. And also during this, Tommaso Ciampa basically got a 4-on-1 beatdown from the Undisputed Era. Only time will tell why Balor's turned and where this is going to lead, but that's basically NXT for that week.
Yep, and I forgot to mention AEW Dark from last week. The Dark matches, Brandon Cutler versus Joey Janela, where winner of that match was Joey Janela. Nyla Rose versus Leva Bates. Nyla Rose won that one. She's trying to slowly gain herself back up to a title contender for the women's title. And then the main event for AEW Dark was Dustin Rhodes and the Young Bucks with Cody versus Private Party and Strong Hearts. Winners Cody, Dustin Rhodes and the Young Bucks. Now we move on to Impact Wrestling. As Impact Wrestling officially prepares for the promotion's most significant television deal in years, a newly signed deal with Access TV. That will see Impact moving to Tuesday nights, which Access TV airs to more around 50 million homes. And this was a debut for Impact on Access TV. Following the dawn of a new era, a video package of Impact opens the show with commentators Josh Matthews and Don Callis introducing it in the ring. So it's about time they got a good TV deal, Impact. I mean, I think officially they had Spike. I think they were on Spike originally.
Yeah, they were, because at one point they were obviously struggling to get a TV deal.
They were struggling for a while.
And it looked like for a while they were...
They deserve it though. They've come... They lost a lot of money. They had to go from the bottom and work themselves up again. Because you had to cut a lot of it out. Cut pyros, cut to the bare bones, didn't they? Which, hopefully...
Well, I think in the long run it will help them, the fact that they've had to go back to, like you say, the bare bones.
Yeah.
Because
hopefully this generates more money for them, basically.
Yeah, they can just start rebuilding now and sort of treating it like
that's what they are doing.
It's a new company sort of thing.
It is, basically. Hopefully it works out. It will work out. They've got some good people there.
Well,
so
in fairness,
they've got the talent anyway.
Well, in fairness, you look at it, they've not got they've not got your Hogans anymore, your Nashes, your Bischoffs. Because let's face it, those particular people were basically, money grabbers and very poisonous. I mean, surely TNA should have learned from what happened when those particular people were involved with WCW.
I must say, they have the best commentators, Josh Matthews and Don Callis. They work good together. I don't know what about Josh Matthews was like in WWE at the time.
He weren't bad, but again, because obviously...
He is good in Impact, he is good.
I think he was around when... In fact, saying that, no, I don't think Lawler and Ross were still commentating together, but I think at that point, I think it was Taz and Michael Cole who were seemed to be the standout commentators.
But they work well as commentators, Don Callis and Josh Matthews.
Because if I remember rightly, I think Josh Matthews did a bit on the so-called revived ECW that Vince did, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Well, on this show, Marufuji versus Josh Alexander, one half of the tag team champions of the North. Obviously, winner of the match, Marufuji. But after the match, Marufuji offers a handshake to Alexander after he had a boring match, good match, basically. Alexander goes to shake his hand, but Paige, his tag team partner, stops it. He looks furious at Alexander. Well, eventually Alexander gonna shake his hand, but then moves his hand away, and they both just laugh it off. So basically, just joshing around with him, basically. Next on the card, you had a tag team match: Desi Hit Squad versus Rick Swann and Willie Mack. Winners of the match was Rick Swann and Willie Mack. Then it cuts to a backstage segment with Rhino hassling producers about where RVD is. If people don't know, he got turned on by RVD at Bound for Glory. This feud must stem from ECW back in the day. They're still in the back of their minds. And he issued a challenge to Rhino for the next pay-per-view, Turning Point. Promises to rip Rob Van Dam with a gore. So that match should be a decent one. Next, you have 6 women tag team match. Taya Valkyrie, the Knockouts champion, with Madison Rayne and Kiera Hogan versus Jordan Grace, Alexia Nicole and Rosemary. Rosemary's the only one who has an entrance in this one. Even Taya Valkyrie, the women's Knockouts champion, doesn't even get an entrance. It's fitting because it's Halloween week, so Rosemary's entrance is like quite dark, like scary looking. So, but I don't know why the others didn't have an entrance. But hello. Winners of the match was Jordan Grace, Alexia Nicole, and Rosemary. Next, Ace Austin versus Eddie Edwards. Ace Austin, the X-Division champion, but this is non-title street fight match. This feud's been going on for a while, since Ace Austin's been trying to get into his Eddie Austin's wife, Alicia Edwards, because they've been going through some issues. Ace Austin's been taking advantage of it, as he would. Winner of the match was Ace Austin. Then it cuts to Moose, introducing fans who may not know who he is. Moose is the one who beat Ken Shamrock at Bound for Glory. Then it cuts off with Ken Shamrock addressing his future in the Impact ring, which brings out Joey Ryan. Ken Shamrock's not knowing who Joey Ryan is at first, but then realises he's the penis guy.
Yeah, the infamous penis guy.
Exactly. But this sets up a match for next week's episode of Impact. Ken Shamrock versus Joey Ryan, basically. Then it cuts off to a flashback with Havoc. He was literally murdering Sue Young. This was, I think, from months back. Well, basically, Sue Young's back. Different persona. Back from the dead, basically, as storyline goes.
Oh, yeah, that unusual wrestling storyline.
Yeah. Then it cuts to Ace Austin again, trying to get Eddie Edwards' wife for a dinner date next week, Alicia Edwards, which she actually does agree what Eddie Edwards will think about that one. But another thing, he's getting closer to, as he calls it, banging his missus or wife. He had the t-shirt, but I banged your wife, so.
I know.
He is a good character, like, he's a good talent, but what he's going about this is like creepy, basically. Main event, rematch from Bound for Glory in a steel cage. Brian Cage defends his title against Sami Callihan. Finally, Sami Callihan gets a rematch because he should have won the title at Bound for Glory, but why they didn't put him to win the title at Bound for Glory, I don't know, because Brian Cage has been out injured for a while, even though he's held the title. And Sami Callihan's been on Impact wrestling his arse off. So, yeah. Basically, Sami Callihan wins the title. Finally wins the Impact title. But then, after that great match, Tessa Blanchard comes out soon after. They have a stare down. This feud's going to continue. She's been going after OBE for so long. She's not going to give up until she beats every one of them to a pulp. She obviously wants the Impact's world title now because Sami Callihan's got it. She wants a feud with him. So that's going to... they're going to have a match. Whether it's at the next pay-per-view Turning Point, no idea. We'll soon see, but she will get a title match against him. It's about time. They're on Access TV. Impact got a good deal. They deserve it. Like we said before, the new era for Impact. Hopefully they'll generate some more fans, the casual fan. Hopefully. They have been creeping up sleep slowly. Like, you even made a reference to WWE on Impact this week about Hell in a Cell segment. You know, so
Well, in fairness, everybody's talking about
Everyone's
that one.
talking about
they
it.
just put themselves in the corner with that one. And
the bad booking.
And who knows, with the continuation of that particular feud at the moment, whether it's going to cause any more talking points. But again, I like to think of it. Would you say TNA now?
Impact,
sorry.
We all get confused. Yeah.
But Impact, I sort of see them with what's happening with the other two companies. They're going to become the ECW of the modern era. Just slip into that.
Well, they're not hardcore style.
No, not in that style. Just in the third brand persona that just goes about.
Not the size of the arenas they go at. You mean?
Just the fact that ECW was one of the
big
three, but it always seemed to be WCW, Vince, Bischoff, all that sort of thing, and EC just did their thing, and they were always sort of the third brand, even though they weren't.
But it's lasted longer than EC though, so.
Well, like we say,
credit where it's due. They've got the best knockouts women's division. They've worked their arse off to get a good women's division, and it is the best in the business. Don't care what anybody says. You watch a women's match in Impact knockouts division, you'll be very impressed.
Well, this is now they've got, as I say, now they got rid of a lot of the egos and stuff like that. Now they're back to the basics. They have got that platform to move on and actually create.
The fans seem to participate as well, like you do with AEW. The fans seem to participate in Impact. So if the fans love it, then they're doing something right. But hopefully they get the casual fan back to tune into Impact, because it deserves more recognition than what it's been getting, basically. Yeah, it had a bad rep when Bischoff and that were there. They had lost a lot of money. But hopefully they turn the corner.
Only time will tell, but yeah, hopefully they will.
I think they have turned the corner. I think they have. So, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll move on to SmackDown from the 25th now. This show opens up with Miz TV. It's Team Hogan, Team Flair. Basically, it's just a precursor for the Crown Jewel matchup. It has been said that they want to get away with having Raw stars on SmackDown and SmackDown stars on Raw. They sort of hammer this home. They bring out both teams, but they do make a note of basically saying, yep, these wrestlers are going to be in the ring, but also on the teams are these superstars, and these are obviously the Raw ones. So they're trying to keep the feud going without breaking the rule, basically, of stars from each show appearing. Basically, this is just your usual talk show or interview segment. The different both sets of wrestlers are basically talking smack about how each team's gonna win. You have Hogan basically trying to say that Flair's never beat him at all. Wrestling, which I don't know. Would we say that's true? As Hogan ever lost to Flair? Have they really had that many matches? Because obviously they didn't have the matches in WWE.
I'm not really too sure, but maybe they have in some of the lesser companies. Yeah, lesser companies like.
But again, they did have the house show circuit before.
Yeah.
The Mania that it was supposed to face off against each other before. Whatever excuse we want to come up with why they didn't do it. Apparently, I think they said that they weren't drawing on the house show circuit, but I think obviously it's WWE. There'll be other reasons for that. Basically, this will then lead on to the main event match being set up between Roman Reigns, Shorty G, and Ali. They'll be going up against Nakamura, King Corbin, and Cesaro. We move on to a tag team match. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode defeat the New Day, and Dolph Ziggler actually manages to finally pin Kofi Kingston. Basically, I don't know what they're doing with Kofi at the moment. He's gone from being WWE champion, having quite good 5 or 6 months as champion, and now it just seems like he drops the title and he's not really... Doesn't seem to be interested in getting a rematch. But again, after losing in such short time to Lesnar, would you really want a rematch straight away? But yeah, and again, he's just been going around with all this positivity. You wouldn't think this is a guy that was champion for 6 months and dropped it in 9 seconds. But yeah, so that was basically just a match to bring along the tag team turmoil match to crown the best tag team in the world at Crown Jewel. Next up, you have Lacey Evans. She just defeat a local enhancement talent. It does look at a point that she's just going to hand this enhancement talent the victory. She goes on about how she don't want to face this nasty, and it looks like she's going to walk to the back while the enhancement talent's in the ring, thinking she's about to get a count-out victory. Evans hits her with the woman's right and just wins the match. Next up, have Kalisto defeating Drew Gulak. This will come around when Braun Strowman comes out to distract Gulak. Prior to the match, Gulak was showing a PowerPoint presentation on the many ways that Tyson Fury would beat Strowman at Crown Jewel. So yeah, Gulak probably still would have lost anyway. Basically, they're only doing this to make Strowman look powerful going into the match. Sure, I'm sure they could have come up with a better idea.
Powerful with Drew Gulak.
Yeah, a guy who's like 150 pounds lighter than him, and like.
Well done, WWE.
If they're gonna have a match together, you'd expect Strowman to win anyway, unless there was some underhanded tactic or something. Basically, after the match, Strowman power slams Gulak a couple of times. Again,
not surprising though with the size of him.
It's like, what are we going to see this feud? I can't exactly see it being an interesting one unless, as I say, someone interferes on Gulak's behalf. I mean, they've got... Drew Gulak has been pushed quite a bit in the last couple of months on 205 Live, and just to bring him up onto SmackDown now to potentially put him in a feud with Strowman, if not that, basically have him get beat up by Strowman. It's like, again, another one of those... Triple H has built a decent wrestler up for Vince to just take him and just go, not a chance, bye-bye, you're just going to be there to be squatted against the canvas, basically. Next up, we have an in-ring interview with Daniel Bryan. This interview just basically comes about after last week. The fans started chanting yes, so he's being interviewed about, is he going to bring back the yes movement? Is he going to come back and basically become a face again? Because obviously since last year he's been the heel character, which actually was a refreshing change for him, because he's always sort of been the face in the company. It was good to see him as a heel with that whole eco-friendly character that he had. Before he had a chance to basically give his thoughts and opinions on what he was going to do, Sami Zayn comes out, tries to convince him that the new Daniel Bryan persona that he brought about was the real Daniel Bryan. The fact the fans didn't care about him, and he should just not even bother bringing back the yes movement. Before Bryan says anything, he just basically leaves the ring. As he's going up the ring, he looks confused as to what choice he's going to make. I mean, let's face it, the fact the fans are chanting yes again, by the end of the month, he's going to be... Well, not the end of this month, because obviously we're nearly end of the month. Anyway, by middle of November...
At the end of the month.
Yeah, by mid-November Survivor Series, you'd expect Bryan to have turned face again, unless Vince wants to do a swerve and basically hammer home his heel persona even further by having him turn on the fans for a second time. Then next up, we have Nikki Cross defeating Mandy Rose. This one, it's just basically a match to give Nikki Cross a bit of momentum going into her women's title match against Bayley. I don't think as of yet they've set a date for that one, unless they go with the usual trope of what they've done with Survivor Series over the past couple of years of having Raw versus SmackDown, and Bayley probably going up against the Raw Women's Champion, obviously at the moment Becky Lynch. Maybe Survivor Series, but possibly this match is going to be a SmackDown just before Survivor Series or a SmackDown after Survivor Series. Only time will tell with this one. Then we get onto the main event. Roman Reigns, Shorty G and Ali defeat Nakamura, King Corbin and Cesaro. Basically just your typical match to send the fans home happy, give the faces the victory. Roman Reigns, towards the end of the match, will spear Cesaro, and this will lead to Ali hitting the 450 splash and getting the victory. So again, gives them a bit of momentum going into Crown Jewel. And yep, that's basically SmackDown for last week. Moving on to the NWA show.
Yep, now we'll move on to NWA Power. On YouTube, with Homicide and Eddie Kingston still on the warpath. This week's NWA Power is going to be a really bumpy ride. James Storm interrupts Jim Cornette and Joe Garley to open the show, and is quickly followed by Colt Cabana, who makes it clear that he wants his rematch for the NWA National Heavyweight title. Eli Drake and Nick Aldis also join in the discussion, and then a 6-man tag match is made for the main event of NWA Power, and if Team Storm wins, then he relinquishes his title but gets a shot at Aldis's world title. But if Team Aldis wins, then Colt Cabana gets a shot at James Storm's NWA National Championship. Then it cuts off to a recap of the Dawsons attacking Homicide and Kingston. Austin Idol is in a commercial for kayfabe cocktail, basically. Then match, we have the Dawsons versus Homicide and Eddie Kingston. Winners. The highlight was when Eddie Kingston shielded his injured hand to the point where it was genuinely leaked useless to him. Winners of the match was Homicide and Eddie Kingston. Then Marty Bell talks about her match coming up next, about her sights are set on challenging for the NWA Women's title. The next match, Trevor Murdoch versus Josephus. Winner of the match was Trevor Murdoch. Then a video airs hyping a video debut for Thunder Rosa. Then a segment with Aaron Stevens comes out for an interview and speaks about his upcoming movie Tropical Pirates. He is quickly interrupted by Ricky Starks, who gives him a slap across the face. A match is then confirmed for later. Ashley Vox versus Marty Bell. Winner of the match was Ashley Vox. Ricky Starks versus Aaron Stevens. Ricky Starks wins the match. And then the main event, 6-man tag match. Nick Aldis, Colt Cabana and Ken Anderson versus James Storm and the Wildcards. Winner of the match was Team Aldis, which means Colt Cabana gets a shot at the NWA title. And that was NWA Power for this week. That's all happened, really.
Basically, just a good show, basically, is what you said.
Yeah, it's good. It was a good show. Yeah, it's always a good show.
But again, they're a new well, we say new company, trying to revive the old company, but obviously they're still trying to sort of get the feet under the rug, so to speak, just building the company up, basically.
Yeah, they're building up again. Yeah, basically,
so
it's exactly like the old 80s style NWA. They've set it up with the set and everything. It's exactly enough the same. They're just wrestling segments, wrestling studio show.
Yeah, and with it being on YouTube at the moment, it gives them the freedom, basically.
Oh, it does give them the freedom. More fans can watch as well for free.
Yeah, but again, you'll probably get to the point where it will most likely get
eventually,
a TV
but you don't
deal.
want it yet, but because you want to build it up. But Yeah.
Because are they going with pay-per-views as well, or are they just
Yeah, they're having the pay-per-views still.
Again, YouTube.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
But again, pay-per-views in it.
Might be, yeah. I don't know if it will be YouTube.
I'd probably imagine, YouTube for the shows and then get a bit of revenue in by shoving on pay-per-view. Right, so we'll move on to Raw next from this week. Show opens with Paige coming out to the ring. Basically, for anybody who's not been watching, Kabuki Warriors, current women's tag champions. Paige is just out to basically remind us that she was the manager, she was the person who got them together and all this sort of thing. The Kabuki Warriors come out to the ring. It looks like it's going to be a reunion of manager and team. In the end, Paige ends up getting the green mist and basically has to leave the ring because in her own words, she can't see, she needs to tell and all this. So I think this one's really there to put over the fact that the Kabuki Warriors are no longer the good girls, basically. They are trying to turn them heel. Because basically, Kairi Sane, since she's come through NXT, come onto the main roster, she's been portrayed as a good female, basically. Asuka's had a bit of heel tendencies, but she's sort of been on the face side of things. So this one's basically saying, the heel champions now. But this then leads into Kairi Sane versus Becky Lynch. No surprises here. Becky Lynch gets yet another victory because obviously she's being portrayed as the face of the women's division over both shows, basically. Because I highly doubt they're trying to put SmackDown on the same level, even though obviously with Fox will want both, well, we'll want at least the SmackDown Women's Champion to be as good as the Raw, but I think at the moment they're still trying to push Lynch as the face of the women's division. Next up, have Buddy Murphy defeating R-Truth. Some may see it as a bit of a shock, but again, R-Truth, he's getting on in age now. I think they say he's either late 40s or getting into his 50s now.
Is he really?
Because basically, it has been said for a while now that he looks quite good for his age.
Remember when it was K-Quick?
Exactly, yeah. K-Quick teaming with Road Dogg. And at the moment, for R-Truth, it was giving him something different to do because obviously in the past couple of months he's been chasing the 24/7 title, but I think he's still going to be kept in that scene anyway. At the moment, it looks like eventually he's going to become the most decorated champion in WWE, because obviously I think at the moment with a number of title reigns, I think it's Raven who's got the most title reigns thanks to all the hardcore title victories, which again surprises people because obviously the hardcore title was basically built around Crash Holly. He was the one who made it 24/7.
But it got failed when the Undertaker held it. No one wanted to take it off him.
Yeah, it took RVD, but again, it was like, 24/7 title. So 24/7 rules being suspended. I'm not surprised. Like you say, no one wants to face Taker.
I'm not taking him. I don't want the title off him.
Yeah, but as I say, Murphy getting the victory here. They have been building Murphy up. This is the same Buddy Murphy who actually owns a clean pinfall victory over Daniel Bryan. So obviously, someone in WWE, if not Vince, seems to be pretty high on him. So expect big things from him. Then next we have Ricochet against Drew McIntyre. Basically, again, McIntyre's returned. They're trying to push him again as this no-nonsense tough guy who's just going to beat everyone up. Basically, this is how this match goes. He basically has an upper hand for most of the match. Just as Ricochet's coming back into the match and looks like he's going to win, he actually picks up the DQ victory here because he gets hit with an RKO out of nowhere. Randy Orton's still doing that.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that makes Randy Orton relevant at the moment, I mean, I know he's a heel and he's better as a heel, but he just seems to be stagnant at the moment with his character. I think they need to do something different. I'm not saying turn him face or anything, keep him as a heel, but give him something of an edge. He just seems to be coasting along at the moment. But again, the rumours are still persisting.
Yeah, but his contract expires in 2020 as well next year. So
Exactly, we're only a couple of months off 2020. I don't know whether the month of that one's being revealed, but 2020 could be run
he
that.
did that segment. He did that Twitter with a picture of him with the Elite for the elevator.
Yeah, but again, this is all, and again, as we say,
he may be doing it to try and get a better deal out of WWE.
Well, yeah, as I say, pinpoint the word rumours because it's like it's all, and he's seen to come across as being a company guy. He's always been one of those go-to guys for Vince, and it's not like Vince has buried him over the years. He's always had him in a prominent position. So again, it could just be the case of because now he's heel again, he may just be playing up to that one. But again, we'll just have to see how it develops. Like you say, contract expires next year, so we'll see how it progresses over the coming months within the next year. See what happens. But like you say, he may just be using it to basically say to Vince, "Yeah, I'll have a better contract if you please. Maybe another title run somewhere down the line." Because this always seems to be the way with John Cena now going off to Hollywood. He needs to have another superstar that he can keep giving titles to. And Orton's already a 13 or 14 time world champion, so maybe another run's on the horizon for him. But yeah, next up we get the Viking Raiders winning yet another squash match. I don't know what they're doing here. We know the Viking Raiders are dominant. I mean, the Raw Tag Champions now. There's no reason to have them winning against local competitors and squashing them. Just basically start giving them proper proper competitors, even though I think they're saying with the AOP coming back, I think they're being lined up to be the next challengers. So if that happens, then they should have decent challenges basically, because the AOP are being built up as a powerhouse team again. But yeah, we then move on to a rematch from the previous week's episode. Andre defeating Sin Cara. The only difference with this one, Sin Cara actually brings back up this week, because last week Vega got involved in the match which cost him. So he brings along his own female valet sort of thing. It does look at one point like it's going to actually lead to him getting a victory, because Vega tries to interfere, but the backup that Sin Cara brings along actually manages to take care of Selena, but this actually leads to a distraction which leads to Sin Cara losing the match. But yeah, as I say, rematch city again for Raw. They seem to love doing that when you run out of ideas. Just have another match that we had two competitors facing off against the previous week. Then we get the team of Charlotte Flair and Natalya going up against the Iconics. Basically, Flair and Natalya getting the victory here. Potentially, are they making these two a team instead of having Charlotte go after the women's title? They're going to have them going after the women's title, because with the Kabuki Warriors now being champions, they'll need competitors / challengers to go up against, and at the moment there just doesn't seem to be many female teams on the roster. But again, if they're going to do this, then if they're going to have Flair and Natalya as a tag team, maybe have them tagging for a couple of weeks before actually going up for the titles. Otherwise it's just going to come across as being like, oh, thrown together team going after the championships. Then following this, we have Seth Rollins in a Falls Count Anywhere match against Eric Rowan. Basically, this is just being built up as a warm-up match for Seth Rollins leading into his Falls Count Anywhere title match at Crown Jewel against The Fiend. This match would spill into the backstage area, and in a finish reminiscent to, I think it was the empty arena match between Mankind and The Rock from the late 90s. Seth Rollins wins the match by pinning Eric Rowan using a forklift truck. Well, I say him, he basically finds someone who can operate the forklift and forces them to lower the pallet on top of Rowan, and Rollins just basically stands on top of a pallet covering Rowan to get the victory. Again, if you want to make Seth Rollins look strong going into his title match, this is a great way to make him look strong. He has to basically use underhanded tactics to beat Rowan, but at the same point, it still keeps Rowan looking pretty strong. The fact the only way he loses is because he can't literally move from this pallet being forced on top of him. Then next up we get AJ Styles going up against Humberto Carrillo. As I said previously, Carrillo seems to be a star that Vince has his eyes on as a potential future Mexican star to push and put in the Rey Mysterio position. Again, because he's Vince's Mexican project, he does put up quite a decent fight, but eventually he does tap out to the calf crusher. And then we get the main event, I'll say segments, this isn't a match. We go back to the love triangle, Rusev, Lana and Bobby Lashley.
Can't believe they're still doing this.
Yeah, basically, King's Court, or has been hyping it up all the way through the show, King's Divorce Court. Basically, it just starts off with Rusev and Lana. Lashley does offer to come out and be by Lana's side, but Lana has said she wants to do it alone. She has to confront Rusev alone. And basically, her reasoning for why she's done what she's done is basically the fact she's trying to put Rusev across as being a sex addict, basically. The fact that Rusev wanted sex everywhere, basically backstage, in supermarkets, in doctors' offices, basically you name it. Apparently, Rusev wanted to have sex there and then. It's like, alright, he's a sex addict, right? But then the cherry on top of the cake is Lana accusing Rusev of cheating on her firstly. And when Rusev confronts her over this, she's like, he's like, it's not true. She's like, it's true. Bobby Lashley told me. Oh yeah, how convenient. Bobby Lashley, the guy you're now having an affair with, tells you that your husband's having an affair. It's got to be true then.
Why don't you just end this storyline now?
Yeah. But yeah, this basically leads to Lashley coming out. Brawl erupts. Rusev gets the upper hand to begin with. And considering Rusev's been talking about how he wants to get back with Lana, he then turns it around at this instant, takes his wedding band off and starts going, is this what you want? And then tries to force his wedding ring down Bobby Lashley's throat. In the end, Lashley gets the upper hand, and basically, with a few low blows, basically, Rusev's left laying on the mat, and Raw basically ends with Rusev laying there with Bobby Lashley and Lana just basically kissing and making out over the injured Rusev. Like you say, why they still continue to run this storyline? I don't think anybody...
To be honest, I don't like this storyline.
I don't think there's anybody who likes this storyline. It's just like...
Who come up with it? Probably Vince.
Well, let's face it. Vince weren't very happy when... Because he's already done a love quadrangle involving Lana and Rusev, inserting Ziggler and Summer Rae in it. And he got annoyed with that when Lana announced their engagement. So I don't know, has he just got some vendetta against Lana and Rusev? Is he trying to do this angle further down the line to try and split them up?
Well, he did want to leave at one point.
Yeah. It's just... There's ways of getting a character over, but by having them in a storyline, a real life couple with one.
I know, it doesn't make any sense.
It's just like you say, the sooner they end this storyline, the better. But
to be honest, I think they will leave next year.
But unfortunately, I just see this one.
I think they will leave next year, though.
Well, if they keep getting storylines like this, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's basically Raw for this week.
Now we move on to this week's AEW Dynamite, which was the 31st of October. The show opened with Tony Schiavone at the airport with Cody and Dustin Rhodes. Tony walks Cody to his limo, and Cody seems very nervous because we're having a contract signing on this week's Dynamite, where with Cody and Jericho, AEW Championship on the line at Full Gear. Then a video aired of what happened last week with Moxley and Omega. Then Moxley stormed backstage to Tony Khan's office, where he found out that his match with Kenny Omega is now a lights out match, meaning unsanctioned, which wins and losses won't matter in this match, like it doesn't basically exist. Why they've done it this way, I think probably because they don't want Kenny Omega to lose another match and Moxley to lose. So the best way to do it is lights out doesn't exist, so it won't be on the record. Good idea, or not?
Yeah, well, this is it. I get why they have the unsanctioned matches, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, oh yeah, on the record books it doesn't exist. Then they you're televising it.
It still exists.
It still exists. One guy's going to lose, even though it's not on this mysterious records book. It's still a match. You can put anything in front of it. It still basically exists in fodder. I mean, yeah, okay, it's not on the record books that either man's lost, but someone is going to lose. So someone's going to gain more momentum over the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got its pros and its cons to it. But
it's a good feud between them both. Like, I think Moxley's more pissed off now with it being unsanctioned, and he didn't like the draw the previous week against Pac, so he's getting more fired up. So that should be a decent match.
But again, were he using that draw last week to lead more into the AEW title match? The fact that obviously now they put that stipulation that they're going to have judges at ringside in the event it goes to a time limit. Was that it? We'll use that to basically say, a match could go to a time limit draw.
They're not discussed who the judges are as of yet, but that should be done next week, I should imagine, on Dynamite. I should imagine. Yeah, they probably are working it towards that.
But again, is that still right, using one feud to help another feud? It's an interesting thing.
It can help. Makes it flow. Yeah, it can help. First match, Sammy Guevara versus Hangman Adam Page. Hangman Page won this one. Then Hangman grabs the mic and talks about how things weren't going well for him lately in AEW. But tonight he felt good, and that at Full Gear he was going to do some cowboy shit and take Pac's head off. So that should be another decent match. It was meant to happen at one of the pay-per-views. I think it was All Out, I think. Double or Nothing, I think it might have been. Or one of them, anyway. They were meant to fight, but then Pac was working for the other company.
Oh yeah, I think it was Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. Pac was working for the other company.
And then he had that whole thing.
Because he had the title. He
didn't want to lose or something.
I think he had the title and didn't want to lose on another promotion while he still got the title. But yeah, made sense. He was good of him to do it that way. He was good.
He did get a lot of heat because people did.
Oh, he did. But he had a match in England, but it was crap. It wasn't good.
I think some people saw it as Pac having too big an ego. He didn't want to lose a match.
Even I did at first. Yeah, exactly. Well, every wrestler's got a bit of an ego.
Oh, yeah. Hogan.
He hasn't.
Oh, no, he's the most honest guy in the world.
Yeah. Then the Rock and Roll Express arrived because these were meant to give the tag titles to the winner of the tournament, but we'll find out later what happens to them. Rock and Roll Express arrived and Private Party met them in the back. Then, second match, Shana versus Hikaru Shida. Hikaru Shida makes Dynamite debut and defeated Shana, who also made her first appearance for the company. So it was recently signed. Then Santana and Ortiz attacked the Rock and Roll Express, but they were able to present the AEW World Tag Team titles during an interview on the ramp. And they put Morton through a table. I don't know what leading with that. Where they're leading with this one. Why they have a Rock and Roll Express on the show to get beat up. Are they going to be leading into Summit or
sometimes companies just do that just because of them being legends, try and get heat on.
Yeah.
And again, it's a pretty easy way to get heat. Have a legend or legends getting beat down, ones that you see that can't compete. But like you say, they could be going the other way. It could be leading to them having a match. I don't know. Are they one of these that haven't officially retired? They got one more match in the tank, sort of thing.
I don't think they have officially retired.
But again, this is wrestling. Retirement doesn't
I can't see them fighting Santana Ortiz.
So it might just be giving the team some heel heat, because it'd be basically beat down on age legends. So that's probably more likely what they're doing with that one.
Yeah. Young Bucks came out to see if they were alright, but Santana Ortiz had already gone by then. So that's their feud heating up for Full Gear, basically. Young Bucks and Santana Ortiz. Next match, we have a 6-man tag match. QT Marshall, Alex Reynolds and John Silver versus the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, and the legend that is Orange Cassidy, the coolest wrestler in the business. He's got an easy job. He has got an easy job as a wrestler. He's one wrestler he would like to fight because he won't get injured. Rick and Morty introduced the Best Friends, which the Best Friends were dressed up as Rick and Morty. The winners, Best Friends and Orange Cassidy on that one. Then we have Hybrid 2, Jack Evans and Angelico and Kip Sabian versus Kenny Omega and Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks in a 6-man tag. Winners of the match was Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Then it cuts off to a segment in the ring with Peter Abel on. He comes out shushing the crowd as he always does. Cuts a promo about how terrible North Carolina was. Moxley, because he's still angry, walks out through the crowd, gets in the ring and destroys Avon. Moxley grabs a mic and talks about how his match with Omega is now unsanctioned. Moxley was mad and that it didn't officially count on record, as I've said before. Even he said he is unsanctionable. Moxley for you. And that they haven't seen anything yet, so yeah, he's pissed. So that match it's going to be a brawl, basically. I can see it. Then the final of the tag team title tournament was the main event. Lucha Bros, Ray Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. versus SCU, Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. Winners of the tournament was SCU. They become the first ever AEW World Tag Team Champions. AEW did a great job building the tag titles in the tournament. It's always nice to have a tournament for a title rather than have a one-on-one match.
Yeah,
or a battle royal.
Gives it a bit more prestige.
Yeah, it gives it
and
more
the
prestige.
Fact that you've actually earned... Well, yeah, that you've earned it. You've actually done some work to get them.
Yeah.
As opposed to just a one-off match where you've possibly just been given a title shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, in some cases, just handed a title.
Yeah, has happened in the past.
Yeah.
Full Gear's shaping up to be a good pay-per-view. So, yeah, that was this week's Dynamite. And the AEW Dark, which took place this week, was... Hold on, when I think about it, what are you going to be talking about?
I'll get onto NXT firstly while you compose yourself on that one, and then we'll come back to it. NXT is helping this week. Show kicks off with Io Shirai defeating Candice LeRae. Basically, at this point, what looked like being the end of the feud, because we've been feuding for a month or two now, but as we'll learn later on, it takes another turn in this one. Then we get Finn Balor coming out to the ring. Obviously this one was a bit anticipated to see why Finn Balor did what he did, why he's turned heel and all this. He puts a bit of context on it, but I think there's still room for more explanation. Basically, he's trying to put himself across as the biggest thing in the industry at the moment. He goes on about how he doesn't watch the business watches him. He gets onto Gargano because after last week's show, Gargano had to be stretched out of the arena after the assault. and basically he just lays down a challenge to Gargano. Just basically says, if you want to go again, I'll just put you basically back in the hospital. And that's basically it for Balor. As I say, there's got to be more explanation to this, but really gives a bit more of a breath of fresh air to Finn Balor instead of going back to that clean-cut babyface act he's had for years, both coming through NXT and on the main roster. And plus it gives him a chance to rejig and reinvent himself after the way he's been treated on the main roster anyway. So yeah, we'll have to see where this goes. I can't wait to see the Demon Balor character come out now that he's a heel again. That one's only got to be for the best, basically. But yeah, we'll see how that one develops. Next match on the card, Bronson Reed, another competitor that came up through the breakout tournament, gets a victory here over Shane Thorne. Then next up, it's the women's tag team title match. Kairi Sane and Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors, defending the titles against Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai. No surprises here. Kabuki Warriors get the victory. The green mist is used yet again. After the match, the commentators comment over the referee. Referee's finally seen the green mist, but he's already made his decision. He can't overturn his decision. But again, that is what it is. But I don't want to say the match is an afterthought, but what happens after the match is the real talking point for the women's division. Basically, Nox and Kai, they're in the ring. They're feeling worse for wear after the loss. This brings out Shayna Baszler and the other horsewomen. Then it descends. More women from the locker room come out. It turns into a mass brawl. In the end, Regal comes out to try and restore order, and he basically says there's only one way to basically sort this out, and basically he just says 2 words: War Games. Now, I don't believe WCW ever had a female War Games.
No, they didn't.
So for once,
don't think they had a WCW women's division.
So yeah, so actually WWE for once are actually telling the truth. They're actually portraying this as being the first ever female War Games match. And basically the way they built up this female division, I can't wait for this match. It's going to be quite a good one, because I think the NXT women's division is better than what they're presenting on the main roster. With the main roster, I think they're trying to force the women's division too much. With the NXT women's division, they're letting it flow more. As I say, you got some of the females coming across from NXT UK, and with the way that they're doing it with, now that Finn Balor's come down to NXT, Triple H has said in the past couple of days how if the main roster don't have any storylines for superstars, he'd welcome them down. So there's potential for current women on the main roster coming down as well. So this one can only turn into something pretty good. So as I say, first ever women's War Games. It should be a decent match. We then move on to Cameron Grimes and Tyler Bate. In a surprise one here, Cameron Grimes gets the victory over Tyler Bate. So again, Grimes is being given another victory, even though he lost last week to Matt Riddle. They're still trying to keep him pretty strong. Obviously in this one, defeating the first ever UK champion. So expect big things for Cameron Grimes down the line. Then we move on to the main event. It's the Undisputed Era. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish going up against Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. This one just stems from last week. Keith Lee getting the beat down. Undisputed Era offered him a tag team match if he could find a partner. Apparently Dijakovic offered to be his partner, but Keith Lee turned him down. He was like, no, me and Matt Riddle have travelled up and down the road for years. I want him as my tag team partner. And yeah, this basically just turns into another victory for the Undisputed Era. After the match, rest of Undisputed Era come out yet again to try and beat down on Riddle and Keith Lee. This then brings out Tommaso Ciampa and his trusty crutch. Again, because in these one man, he manages to take out the entire Undisputed Era. And then the show closes with Tommaso Ciampa seeing the NXT title in the ring. Just stares down looking at it, resists the temptation to pick it up, just basically turns to it and just basically... Because he's christened it Goldie. When he held it, it was Goldie, it's still Goldie. So he's like, Goldie, you're going to have to wait because Daddy's going to war. So there has been rumours that potentially we've got the women's War Game match. There could be another War Game match on the card. I don't know. I don't know whether they'll do a second one because War Games have tended to be pretty long matches. If you put 2 on the card,
Yeah, they have, yeah.
It's going to eat up a good portion of the show. You're going to take up at least half the show on War Game matches. So, again, it might be good having 2 War Games, but really, you're either going to end up with just a 2-match card, or you're just going to throw a couple of other matches that are just going to get forgotten about. So I think really, maybe just have a standard 6 or 8 man tag team match between Undisputed Era and then Ciampa, Lee, Riddle and another partner. But again, we'll just have to wait and see how this one turns out. But yeah, that's basically NXT for the week.
And I'm finally ready for the AEW Dark. Sorry about that one. Tag team match for the first match was Big Swole and Mercedes Martinez versus Sadie Gibbs and Ali. Winners of the match was Sadie Gibbs and Ali. Tag team match, Joey Janela and Jimmy Havoc versus Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt. Winners of the match was Joey Janela and Jimmy Havoc. Don't know what to do with Jurassic Express because you don't seem to be winning many matches these days. Then the main event was Sean Spears versus Michael Nakasawa. Sean Spears won the match with Tully Blanchard at ringside. And that's the AEW Dark for this week. But we'll see that next week on the YouTube channel on Tuesday night in the UK. So, yeah, that's it for that one.
Right. Now we'll round it off with just wrestling news from the past week. Well, I basically want to start off because I'm pretty sure you would have heard it, but I want to go away from all the promotions we've been talking about and head into the indie circuit. Did you hear this week about the incident involving a wrestler bringing a knife to the ring? Yeah, basically, I don't know what company it was, but basically they were trying to do a passing the torch moment.
Yeah.
And this wrestler comes out on the other wrestler that the torch was supposed to be being passed to and pulls a knife out. It was unscripted. Apparently, the wrestler in question was intoxicated. So they basically pulled him from any future shows, and basically it looks pretty much like he's going into rehab. So, basically, a shocking one for the week. It's like, yeah.
That's quite bad.
Yeah, so...
Have they fired him?
I think the word is they're taking him off TV, but you'd imagine if he doesn't seek help, then yeah. There's no word saying they're firing him, but obviously they're going to have to do something, if not distance themselves from him. But again, with him being intoxicated, they may want to try and help him by getting him in.
The same thing happened to Joey Janela and the ex-WWE wrestler, Enzo Amore. We know with the feud they had.
Oh, yeah.
When he went up to him, Enzo Amore, they were going to fight, but
I think with Enzo Amore, since WWE released him, I think he's just trying to make himself relevant, because it's like he went off, he did his rap songs, especially his debut one that stemmed from the allegations he had against him, and his way of doing it was to do a rap against the person accusing him. It's like...
That was wrong.
It's like, yeah. So Enzo Amore's got...
Heat, yeah.
He it's like, is he just trying to be a... Well, he is a dick, but is that the way he's trying to present himself, or is he just looking to get any sort of attention? Because
But that's just him.
Because I don't think at the moment anybody wants to touch him anyway. Because
No.
he's dug his own grave, and now he just seems to be digging it even further. Because look at it, turning up at Survivor Series, I think it was last year, making a show of himself. He had to get ejected by security.
Yeah.
It's just like with him more at the moment. It's just like he's been the one that needs to sort his life out. He's just trying to get too much attention. What's he hoping to get out of this? That a company's going to take him? What company apart from maybe an independent company that hasn't got as much of an exposure wants somebody like him to give them a media outlet?
There was another wrestler. I don't know the wrestler's name. He was after backstage. He was on drugs or highly intoxicated. He was chasing Joey Janela backstage, threatening to kill him. I think it may have been this year or last year, I can't remember. But he had to lock himself in a room before people took him away. That would have been a scary moment for Joey Janela because he was actually going to kill him because he was intoxicated with drugs. Alcohol. I can't remember what wrestler it was. I'm not going to state the rumour, but...
Again, it's that thing with wrestling. I mean, you don't expect it to still be happening. So obviously there's stories from the past. What's called, was it Luger pulling a pair of scissors on Arn Anderson or something, or vice versa back in the day?
That was in the hotel room, I think.
And it's like you don't really expect it nowadays, but again, you're hearing too many things about either wrestlers being drunk or on drugs or something.
Well, you had the thing back in the day with the Nasty Boys and Ken Shamrock, but they started it. Ken Shamrock finished it. They started it, Ken Shamrock finished it.
Well, that's their own bloody fault, starting a fight with Ken Shamrock.
Because they was, I think they were saying stuff out, because he was staying at a hotel, they were saying something outside, meet us in the parking lot. He went, they didn't show, but then they were slagging him off for months, so he sees them at the airport. They run off, but he gets up to them. They basically were shit scared of Ken Shamrock, which would have been, they were slagging him off, it's their own fault. He didn't do anything wrong, they're doing. But he got the last laugh on that one. But then something else happened last week was the more Seth Rollins feud on Twitter, going on about Kenny Omega. When you're done with the wrestling in the minor leagues, come and face me at Mania, which Jim Ross said something on Twitter. He's right though, because Seth Rollins shouldn't be saying it, which brought out Becky Lynch to say something about JR, you know, that she could destroy the whole AEW women's division.
Again, Seth Rollins is his own worst enemy. But again, it just seems to be that thing, if you're wrestling for Vince, you've got to have a social media account, whether you want it or not. You look at Moxley when he was with WWE, when he was wrestling under the Dean Ambrose guys. They basically forced him to get a Twitter account. He even put it on Twitter. He's only got one tweet on it, something along the lines of, "They told me to get Twitter, so here I am. Let's see what happens." He never wanted. It just seems, you're a WWE wrestler, you've got to have a Twitter account because everything's social media nowadays. It's fucking they're so proud of how many social media followers they've got. They've been how many subscribers they've got on YouTube, how many followers they've got on this, on that. It's just like, do you not want to do it in the ring as opposed to outside the ring? You're more interested. You seem to be more interested in being a social media company than a wrestling company.
I've been failing to buy another Japanese company.
Yeah, rumours going this week that he tried to buy Dragon Gate.
Yeah.
Again, the so-called NXT Japan project that they have next.
The fans wouldn't like him buying a Japanese company. The fans are a bit different to... I'm not saying we haven't got hardcore fans in America, UK or Germany, whatever, but they seem to be different in Japan.
I think it's just the way it's gone.
They take hardcore fans to the next level.
Yeah, I think it's just the way it's gone with the way NXT UK, the fact of there's an NXT UK now, so they've got... I don't think they've bought out the UK promotions, but they have deals with them because they still have some of the current roster members or their NXT superstars competing in the Evolve shows.
I don't think he'll get in Japan.
Nah, like you say, Japan's one of those niche markets.
I'm so glad because he's trying to take over the world yet again. How many wrestlers has he got on his roster? Too many. Don't know what to do with half of them.
Yeah, well, this is it. It's just Vince being Vince, just trying to sign everybody, so he can't go anywhere. But yeah, also racism reared its ugly head again this week.
No surprise.
The winner of the breakout tournament, Jordan Miles, has blasted WWE over the release of his new T-shirt. I can't remember the exact wording on the tweet, but it was something along the lines of, "This is how WWE want to represent me," then they've sorely misread the African Americans or something. Because basically, I don't know whether he's trying to say having a black T-shirt for a black wrestler. I'm not too sure. But yeah, then they've not really. I mean, there's also a rumour going around that Vince might be thinking of basically releasing him as well, which again is not going to do his public image much good.
No.
If he's getting accused of racism one day and then a couple of days later thinking about releasing the superstar, maybe try and do a bit of PR recovery. And I don't know if they pulled the T-shirt yet or not, but unless this is a very poor attempt at work by a superstar, basically Jordan Miles is basically maybe not going to be with the company for long anyway, because he's not backing down on this.
Can you blame him?
Exactly. So, but again, if it is the case of it's a black T-shirt, then if it is that offensive to African Americans, I'm surprised it's not come about sooner, because it's basically he's not the first African American to have a black T-shirt come out for them. So I don't know. There might be more to this T-shirt, but again, I might be missing something with it. I'm not 100% sure of this. Sorry, I just know that he's basically accused them of racism, and Vince doesn't seem to be handling it right. It just seems to be his go-to point of action is to distance himself from the superstar. But yeah.
Other news, DDP is officially not welcome in WWE while he's still got ties for All Elite Wrestling. Which, yeah, he did a segment, like I've said, that on Dynamite helping Cody. He still had ties helping WWE, but then he got a call saying he's not needed, so he went down to WWE. I think he met Matt Bloom and said, yeah, when was you working for that company? We don't need you in WWE. Which, in my opinion, is it petty?
Vince has always been that way, though.
Yeah, but also nothing.
Basically, yeah. I'm not willing to share you with any other company, whether I'm at war with them or not.
Yeah.
Unless we're affiliated to them, you can't go. But the same as I say though, Bret Hart appearing on both WWE and AEW, and I'm pretty sure he appeared on WWE weeks after he'd been on AEW. Yeah. So, but again, that might just be Vince not wanting to rock the boat too much with Bret, with everything happening with them. It might be the case that Bret has the exception to the rule. But yeah, injury news though, Xavier Woods, he looks like he's going to be out of action for up to a year. He suffered an Achilles injury on the Australian tour. So how that affects the New Day going forward. Because again, New Day, it's strange they've been together for quite a while now.
Yeah.
It seems strange. Vince doesn't seem to like keeping tag teams or stables together for too long. And again, that may be the only blessing for fans of the New Day for Kofi losing the title, because you'd imagine if Woods had got this injury when Kofi was still champion, maybe Vince would have just decided to disband New Day, or maybe New Day's going to disband anyway. Because let's face it, ever since Kofi won the title at Mania, there was rumours that Big E was going to turn on him. And again,
Didn't happen.
So again, with that, it's like, how long can New Day stay together? even if Woods was fit. It's like maybe they're gonna split up, or maybe Woods is gonna come back and turn on them. But again, up to a year, it's gonna be it's just a weird one, that one.
Contracts in WWE rumoured to be out of contracts next year. One of them's Randy Orton. The Revival rumoured to be wanting out. Rusev and Lana. There's a few other. Rey Mysterio maybe wanting out next year. Some other wrestlers coming to the end of the contracts as well.
But it's rumour season though, isn't it? But again, with Revival, I know what people think. Yeah, they've said they want to go to AEW in the past, but I think really a better fit for them would be the NWA show.
Yeah.
Because they are based portrayed on TV as being a throwback to old school wrestling. I mean, I'm not saying they won't fit on AEW, but I think to give NWA a little bit of a boost. But again, whether they can afford them or whether Revival would even consider going to NWA. But again, with all these contract disputes, again, it comes down to the fact of, are the wrestlers really unhappy, or are some of them just working shoots or trying to push Vince for better contracts? But only time will tell with that one.
Any other news?
I can't really think of any other news, really.
If we've missed any other news, please comment down below. If you like or dislike anything we've put on our video, also put a comment down below. Like,
share, subscribe,
and we'll see you next week in our next video.